Welcome back, Guardians. And today we'll be talking about the Queen of the Reef, Mara Sov. This may be a spoiler if you haven't really played the Taken King, but the last time we saw her was being blown up by Oryx. And many people believe, including Petra and other people that belong to the Queen's side that survived, believe that she is still alive. Because if she were to die, that is a terrible way to get rid of such a big character within the Destiny universe that's actually still alive. Mara Sov did a lot of things. What you may view her as is just a Queen of the Reef you rarely get to see. You see her in very few cutscenes, and what does she actually do? Besides have weird powers during a cinematic. And also, how did she rise to power? How did she become Queen of the Reef, and why does she have fallen within her reef? So Destiny's second DLC was the House of Wolves, and you do know the House of Wolves go against the Queen. Well, it's not like they were always with the Queen to begin with. They actually were against them, fighting with them. The House of Wolves do belong to the Reef, but they were always on opposite sides. But where it all begins is during the Battle of Twilight Gap. If you want to hear more about it from the Guardian's perspective, click on the link in the description to catch more up on that. But this is from Mara Sov's point of view, and she did a lot more than most people would think. So what Mara did in the beginning was she initiated the Reef Wars, which is a very large war in the asteroid belt that takes place between the Awoken and the House of Wolves. But the reason behind this was because she realized that if the House of Wolves succeeded in joining the other Fallen during the Battle of the Twilight Gap, the city would fall. Just a little touch up on the Battle of the Twilight Gap, it was between the House of Devils teaming up with other houses to fight the city. So Mara Sov saw this and decided to initiate her own war, but behind the scenes, it wasn't really out up in front. We're going to stay hidden and fight them. And the Queen's also not dumb. She also believes that the city is on the rise, it'll be more powerful, and she needs an ally, or she wants an ally. She knew that the Reef was on the downside. It was going down, it wasn't going to be as prosperous as it was before, so they were going to team up with the city. But the city was on the verge of collapsing, so they decided to help. So what she did to surprise the Fallen is she attacked Ceres. Now, Ceres is just a dwarf planet in the asteroid belt, but more importantly, it's actually a place within the Destiny universe that's somewhat important. It smells like DLC. But during the Golden Age, it had a small space station. It was built within Ceres orbit. Sometime during the collapse, the dwarf planet was claimed by the fallen House of the Wolves. Ceres is the House of Wolves headquarters. But I'll go more into detail with the Reef Wars after I'm done talking about Mara Sov. Mara Sov did succeed in killing their Kell, Veraxis. But not only that, she also did turn the remaining wolf leaders against one another. This was to help be indirect, with the help of Varric's Loyal. She overthrew the remainder of the house and set herself up as the Kell. And that is how Mara Sov became the Kell of the House of Wolves. And that can also explain why Varrix is called the Loyal. He is loyal to Mara Sov, going against his own kind. Mara also has some weird background to her. For some reason, she knows the entrance to the Black Garden. She does help you out with that. It's a little bit strange. But during that entire mission, what she was intending to do was to have you, the Guardian, become an ally, thus initiating the Queen's bounties and all that way back when. And a little bit after that, that is when the House of Wolves revolted, killing many of her personal guard, and of course abandoning the Reef. And that is what led to the Reef being opened for the Guardians. As you play through Destiny, follow Skolas, the Kell of the Wolves. Try to capture him, you end up capturing him. The Queen takes him to Varrix's Prison of Elders, thus setting up for a very okay endgame type activity. Going back to her death scene, I guess, so to speak, put air quotes around that, when Oryx invaded the system. As you do know, the Awoken met them at the Rings of Saturn, but this was just to stall him. She very well knew that she was no match for the Taken King himself. What they tried to do was to just take out as many ships, enemies, damage, just enough so that the time for the Guardians in the city, who she did know now were more powerful than her own personal guard, would take care of the Taken King. She successfully, and at the same time terribly, initiated the Dreadnought's primary weapon. As you've seen the weapon do some damage, it takes out everything in a thousands of miles radius. It may not look that big, but then again, the size of Saturn's rings, it's a couple Earth sizes. It's pretty intense. But even though most of the Awoken have been destroyed, she did succeed in having Oryx kill most of his own fleet. She also managed to breach a hole within the Dreadnought, using her little magic tricks. I don't know how she did that. I don't even know what kind of power that is to begin with, because she's not on Earth. She doesn't really, I don't know if she holds the light. In fact, within Mara Sov's biography, it goes on and on and on about how she lives close to the darkness. Was that a peek into what the darkness can do? Maybe she harnesses that power. But I'll leave that to speculation. So with the damage to the Dreadnought done, the Dreadnought could no longer advance on the inner system. It had to stay within Saturn's rings, and that allowed us, the Guardians, to come in the Dreadnought and kill Oryx. So that brings us full circle around to the beginning. There's no way Destiny would just kill off Mara Sov like this. It's impossible. She's too big of a character. She's done too much. She indirectly helped us win the Twilight Gap. She stopped Oryx's destruction of the city. He was going to come in, wipe out Earth, hoping that he would kill the Guardian that killed Crota. There is evidence to suggest that she is still alive. Like, for example, her ship is the most intact out of all the ships. It was also on the outer edge. You're not going to send in the Queen's ship all the way into the middle of the battle. But anyways, that's been it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed. And I will see you guys in the next one. Later, Guardians.